Most people think they can do more in a single day than they actually can, but they often don't realize just how much they can accomplish in 6 months. 6 months, that's what we're diving into today. How you can completely change your life over the next 180 days. Why focus on 6 months? Let me explain. A whole year feels too far away to stay motivated, and a single month is usually too short to create real change. But 6 months? That's the sweet spot. It's enough time to see huge progress, but short enough to stay excited and motivated. Isn't that something? Here's something that always amazes me. Most people spend more time planning a vacation than they do planning their actual lives. They'll spend hours looking at hotel reviews, but won't take half an hour to sit down and think about what they want their future to look like. Isn't that wild? But you're not like most people. You're here right now because a part of you is ready for something different. Let me ask you something. If you keep doing exactly what you're doing today, where will you be 6 months from now? Same job, same income, same problems, same excuses. Here's the truth that might hit hard. What you don't change, you're choosing. Think about that. The great thing about a 6-month plan is that it creates something I like to call realistic urgency. You don't have time to waste because 6 months will come and go quickly, but you still have enough time to create real results. It's the perfect middle ground. Let's now look at some core ideas for personal transformation. Success leaves behind clues, and through the years I've learned that extraordinary results don't come from doing thousands of things. They come from doing a few important things over and over again. Practice creates skill, and doing things over and over leads to success. The first step to changing your life in 6 months is getting clear on what you want. You have to be very specific. If your goals are unclear, your results will be unclear too. But when your goals are sharp and specific, your outcomes will be sharp as well. Remember this, clarity gives you power. When you know exactly what you want, the world has a strange way of helping you get there. Most people can tell you what they don't want, but struggle to say what they do want. They can complain about their job, their health, or their relationships for hours. But if you ask what they'd like instead, they're not sure. That's why we begin with getting crystal clear. Here's your first task. Tonight, take out a sheet of paper and write down what you want your life to look like in 6 months. Be detailed. Don't just write, I want to be happier. Instead, write things like, I want to raise my income by 40%, read a dozen books, lose 20 pounds, and start my own online store. Do you see the difference? The second key to transformation is your personal philosophy. This is how you think about the events in your life. It's not what happens to you that shapes your future. It's how you react to what happens. You can't control the wind, but you can control how you set your sail. Here's something important to understand. Success isn't some magical thing. It's simply the result of doing basic things consistently over time. But here's the challenge. What's easy to do is also easy not to do. Reading 10 pages of a good book every day, easy to do and easy to skip. Saving a small amount of money each week, again, easy to do and easy not to. Now let's move on to the third important idea, who you spend time with. This one is big. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Write that down. Over the next 6 months, you'll need to pay close attention to who's around you. Some people you need to love from a distance. That's the truth. There are 2 types of people on your journey. Those who lift you up and those who bring you down. Your mission is to spend more time with the people who lift you up and less time with those who don't. It really is that simple. Let me tell you something powerful. Most people only use about 20% of what they're truly capable of. Why? Because they've never made a solid decision to live at a higher standard. They're just trying to survive each day instead of learning and growing from it. That's a big difference. The fourth key to changing your life in 6 months is to start keeping track of things. From today onward, start writing things down. Track your progress. Record your lessons. Take notes on what you learn. Even small changes in your daily routine can create big results over time. Here's an example. If you read just 10 pages of a good book each day, that adds up to 1,800 pages in 6 months. That's about 6 or 7 whole books. Do you think your thinking might shift after reading the wisdom from 7 great books? Of course it will. Here's another idea that can change everything. Success isn't something you chase, it's something you attract by the person you become. Over the next 6 months, your main goal should be working on yourself. Work harder on you than you do on your job. Now let's talk about investing. Not just money, though that matters too. I mean, investing in your growth. Here's a simple formula. Formal education will help you earn a living, but self-education will help you build wealth. Let me ask you, how much have you put into your personal growth in the last year? Most people won't think twice about spending $100, 0 cents at a nice restaurant, but they hesitate to spend the same amount on a course or a book that could help them grow. That's strange, isn't it? Over the next 6 months, you need to start putting money into yourself. Books, courses, workshops, coaching, whatever helps you grow. Think about it this way. If someone is where you want to be, they probably know something you don't. So learn from them. The 6th key to transforming your life is understanding how small steps lead to big changes. I call this the miracle of steady progress. When you make small, smart changes every day, they add up to something big. Let's break it down. If you get just 1% better every day, in 6 months, you'll be nearly twice as good as when you started. That's the magic of building up slowly. Most people wait for the right time to make a big leap, but real success is built from hundreds of small, smart moves made over time. Now let's look at the 7th key, goal setting. I know you've heard about setting goals before, but let me give you a new perspective. Most people don't dream big enough. They base goals on what seems safe or doable, not what they truly want. For the next 6 months, I want you to set goals that feel a little scary. If your goals don't make you a bit nervous, they're too small. But here's the trick. Break these big goals into small daily tasks. Success comes from what you do all the time, not just every once in a while. There's something else that matters a lot, your surroundings. Your environment can either push you forward or hold you back. In the next 6 months, you must shape your environment so that it helps you. Clean up your workspace, organize your home, create a space that makes you feel ready to take on the world. Here's something that stuck with me. You can't change your final destination in one day, but you can change your direction. That means you can decide tonight to make choices that will lead to a totally different life 6 months from now. And trust me, you'll be glad you did. Success isn't about having the most resources. It's about being resourceful with what you already have. In the next 6 months, stop focusing on what you don't have and start using what's already in your hands. That shift changes everything. Next, let's talk about the 8th key, standards. Your life will always match the level of standards you set for yourself. Raise your standards, and your life will rise to meet them. Drop your standards, and your life will follow. Over the next 6 months, raise your standards in every part of your life. Don't settle for average in your relationships, health, income, or work. Expect more from yourself. Aim higher. People tend to live up to what they expect. If you expect the bare minimum, that's what you'll get. But if you expect greatness, you'll push yourself harder and achieve more. So raise the bar. Now let's talk about daily habits, your rituals. What you do every day has more impact than what you do once in a while. Over the next 6 months, build habits that match your goals. All right, here's one that can completely change things. Wake up 1 hour earlier every day. That gives you an extra 180 hours over the next 6 months. Imagine how much you could get done with that time. That's more than 4 full work weeks. Here's another idea about time. Don't just count the days, make your days count. Everyone gets the same 24 hours. What makes the difference is how you use them. Learn to control your time and you'll control your future. Finally, let's look at the last key, accountability. When you know someone else is watching your progress, you do better. That's a fact. Over the next 6 months, find someone to be accountable to. It could be a friend, a coach, or a group. Share your goals. Update your progress. Celebrate your wins together. Here's something interesting about how people are. We'll often try harder to avoid letting others down than we do to help ourselves rise. Use this understanding to your benefit. Make promises to others that will push you to follow through. Let's talk about something very important, the power to bounce back. Over the next 6 months, you will experience challenges. That's not being negative, it's just being real. The trick isn't to dodge setbacks. The real key is to recover quickly. People who succeed aren't those who never fall. They're the ones who get back up just one more time than they fall. The 11th step in your transformation is something I call the power of focus. Here's what I've come to realize. Where your focus goes, your energy follows. In the next 6 months, you need to be very clear about your top priorities. Don't spend your time on things that don't really matter. Don't just be busy, be effective. Let me tell you something that can change the game. Motivation is what gets you started, but it's habits that keep you moving. So over the next 6 months, work on creating habits that will help you long term. Don't depend only on motivation. Rely on self-portrayal. Motivation is like a warm bath. It feels good, but the feeling fades. The 12th step to your transformation is something I call the power of celebration. A lot of people wait until the final goal to celebrate, but that's a mistake. In the next 6 months, celebrate small steps forward, not just the big wins. Celebrating your progress gives you more drive to keep going. Here's something useful about success. Success leaves signs. Pay attention to successful people. Read what they write. Listen to what they say. Go to their events. Over the next 6 months, become someone who studies success. Learn from people who have already done what you want to do. Let me tell you something deep about personal growth. If you want things to change, you must be the one to change. If you want life to improve, you must improve. If you want things to get better, you have to get better. Don't wish things were easier. Wish you had more strength. Don't wish for fewer problems. Wish you had more skills. The 13th part of your transformation is the power of giving. Because success without giving back feels empty. In the next 6 months, find ways to help other people. The more good you do for others, the more valuable you become. Here's something that might surprise you about wealth. How much you earn often depends on how much you grow. If you want to make more money, you need to learn more. In the next 6 months, invest in yourself. Learn new things. Get better skills. Grow your knowledge. Increase your worth. Let me share a strong truth about change. A lot of people think others are better than them and forget their own power. Over the next 6 months, try to be better than the person you were yesterday. That's the only race that matters. The 14th key to your transformation is something I call the power of decisions. People who succeed usually decide quickly and stick to their choices. People who fail often take too long to decide and then change their mind too fast. In the next 6 months, learn to make firm decisions. There's something powerful about decision making. Every choice you make today shapes what happens tomorrow. The decisions you make now will decide where you'll be 6 months from now. Choose actions that your future self will be proud of. Let me share another deep truth about success. Success isn't a place you reach, it's a path you walk. In the next 6 months, just focus on going in the right direction. Don't chase perfection, chase progress. Progress leads to happiness. The 15th step in your transformation is the power of thankfulness. Being thankful turns what you have into enough. In the next 6 months, keep a journal of gratitude. Every day, write 3 things you're thankful for. That's 540 moments of thankfulness. Here's something interesting about the mind. What you appreciate tends to grow. Over the next 6 months, be thankful for how far you've come. Be thankful for the tough times. Be thankful for the chances you get. The more you practice gratitude, the more things you'll find to be thankful for. Let me say something strong about personal growth. Change is always going to happen, but growing through it is a choice. In the next 6 months, choose to grow. Choose to get better. Choose to move forward. The decision is yours. And the best time to decide is now. Let me end with this thought. 6 months from now, you will arrive at some place in life. The question is where? That answer depends on what you decide today and what actions you take tomorrow. The next 6 months of your life are hidden in your daily habits. Remember, life doesn't improve by chance. It improves by change. And right now, today, you have a chance to make choices that will change your life in the next 6 months. Don't wait for the right moment. Take this moment and make it the right one. The gap between where you are and where you want to be is filled with action. Start today. 6 months will pass whether you take steps forward. You're not tired, you're just undisciplined. You're not lost, you're just surrounded by cowards who've lied to you your entire life. And deep down, you know it. You've been playing weak. You've been living soft. And every second you stay this way, the man you were born to be dies a little more. So ask yourself, how much longer are you going to let your potential rot in silence? Most men will live and die as nobodies. That's the harsh reality no one wants to admit. They'll wake up, hit snooze on their alarm for the 6th time, scroll through meaningless notifications, chase cheap dopamine from screens, and walk through life with no fire, no edge, no direction. They've surrendered to comfort. They've made peace with mediocrity. And the saddest part, they don't even realize they're prisoners. You see it everywhere. Men who've traded ambition for distraction, potential for pleasure, and legacy for laziness. These are not men. They are shadows of what they could have been. Their strength is dormant. Their spirit is numb. They've been fed lies since birth. Just be yourself. You're perfect the way you are. No, you're not perfect the way you are. You're weak. You're soft. You're lost. You are far from the man you were meant to become. The truth is, a high-value man isn't born. He is forged in fire. And that fire is pain, rejection, pressure, discipline. He is chiseled through setbacks, carved through suffering, and refined through relentless self-discipline. You do not become high value by chance. You become him through choice. You choose to get up when you're tired. You choose to read while others numb themselves with mindless entertainment. You choose to keep pushing when no one claps, when no one believes in you, when no one sees your effort. That's what builds you. That's where respect comes from. That's what makes a man valuable, not talk, but transformation. Most of you are scared of becoming men of value because it demands the death of your current identity. You have to kill the laziness. You have to bury the comfort. You have to destroy the weak mindset you've been coddled with since you were a boy. You cannot become a high-value man while still entertaining the habits of a low-value one. The man who scrolls all day, who skips the gym, who lies to himself with excuses, he cannot walk the path of power. And if you don't kill him, he will kill your future. Every day you don't evolve is a day you choose to stay forgettable. The real world doesn't care about your potential. It only rewards performance. It doesn't hand out participation trophies. It bows to those who are dangerous with discipline. A high-value man has presence. He enters a room and doesn't need to speak. His aura says it all. It's not just muscles or money or suits. It's a coded confidence, a deep-rooted belief, carved from years of self-respect. Because you cannot fake being high value. You cannot posture your way to greatness. You become valuable by becoming undeniable. By becoming the kind of man who cannot be ignored because his very existence demands recognition. But understand this, you don't become him overnight. There will be days you feel like quitting, days your body screams in pain, days your mind tells you it's pointless, and it's in those moments, the silent battles, the lonely nights, the invisible sacrifices, where the separation happens. That's when the average man taps out. That's when the high-value man tightens his grip and says, I don't care how I feel, I'm not done yet. That's when transformation takes root. And let me be clear, this isn't about becoming arrogant or heartless. A true high-value man isn't loud or fake confident. He's grounded, he listens, he leads, he inspires, he protects, he speaks truth without fear, and he uplifts those around him, not for validation, but because his strength overflows. He's not seeking attention, he commands it naturally. Why? Because he's built different. He's earned it. He's paid the price in sweat, blood, time, and sacrifice. And this journey, it's not just about money or women or aesthetics. Those things come naturally when you become someone worthy of them. The true prize is internal. It's peace of mind. It's knowing you have power over your own life. It's walking through chaos and being unshaken. It's having the strength to say no when the world tempts you to break your code. It's mastering yourself to such a degree that no man, no system, no situation can control you. That is true value. That is what makes a man high value, not the car, not the followers, not the image, but the substance. And that man, he's in you. He's been buried under years of lies, addictions, excuses, and softness. But he's not dead. He's waiting for you to stop pretending. Waiting for you to stand up and take ownership, waiting for you to cut the bullshit and face yourself. Because once you decide that you are no longer tolerating mediocrity, everything changes. The world treats you differently. People respect you differently. Life opens for those who walk with purpose. So if you're sitting there thinking you've got time, thinking you can ease into greatness, wake up. Time is not your friend is the most ruthless enemy you've got. It ticks away while you scroll, while you doubt, while you delay. Every minute you waste is a brick stolen from the empire you could have built. High value isn't an accident, it's a decision followed by 1,000 daily executions. And if you're not willing to pay the price, stay average. But don't you dare pretend you never had a choice. There was a time I was broke, not just in my bank account, but in my spirit. I wasn't always like this. I remember sitting alone in a room that stank of regret. The walls didn't echo confidence, they echoed every bad decision I ever made. I had no plan, no purpose, just an endless loop of distractions disguised as comfort. I'd wake up late, lie to myself with words like tomorrow, and bury my potential under cheap pleasures. I wasn't living, I was surviving. And deep down, I knew I was lying to myself every single day. I knew I was made for more. But instead of rising, I rationalized. I told myself, I'm not ready, as if greatness waits for permission. Then one day, something snapped. I remember walking past a mirror, and for the first time, I really looked at myself. Not the skin, not the haircut, not the mask I wore in public, but the truth. I saw a man who was wasting his gift. I saw fear. I saw comfort. I saw a coward. And that moment was brutal because no amount of external validation could silence the war inside. The scariest fight you'll ever face is the one between the man you are and the man you were born to be. That day, I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I decided that the version of me standing there would not be the one that dies. I refused to die as a man I didn't respect. People think becoming high value is some glamorous Instagram journey. They think it's watches, suits, and private jets. What they don't see is the darkness. They don't see the early mornings when your body aches and no one's watching. They don't see the sacrifices when you cut off friends you once called family because they chose mediocrity over growth. They don't see the lonely nights where you sit in silence, questioning everything, but still choose not to break. The world glamorizes the outcome, but becoming high value is born in the silence, in the grind, in the discomfort that no one applauds. When I started the climb, I was surrounded by people who didn't understand. They laughed when I said no to parties. They mocked my routines. They told me I was obsessed. And they were right. I was obsessed. Obsessed with the man I could become. Obsessed with not being average. Obsessed with becoming dangerous, valuable, undeniable. And while they stayed in place, I evolved. Every book I read, every rep I pushed, every deal I chased, it wasn't just activity, it was war. I was at war with the weaker version of myself. I wasn't trying to impress anyone. I was trying to rescue myself from the mediocrity that almost consumed me. There were moments I felt like quitting. Days where the bank balance mocked me. Nights where the silence was deafening. But I kept going because I wasn't chasing pleasure. I was chasing power, not over others, but over myself, over my mind, over my choices, over my destiny. If you cannot control yourself, someone else will. And I refuse to be controlled. I refuse to be a man who dies full of dreams but empty of courage. And then slowly things began to shift, not because the world changed, but because I changed. The same people who laughed, they started asking for advice. The same opportunities that once ignored me, they came knocking. But I didn't do it for applause. I didn't do it for women or for clout. I did it because I owed it to the boy I once was. The boy who used to stare at the ceiling at night and wonder if he'd ever be enough. I became the man he needed. That's what becoming high value means. It means becoming the man your younger self would be proud of and your future self would thank. And if you're sitting there thinking this is some motivational fairy tale, it's not. I'm not telling you it's easy. I'm telling you it's necessary. I'm telling you that you can do it, but you won't if you keep lying to yourself. The clock is ticking and no one is coming to save you. There is no magic button. There is no secret shortcut. Just decisions, just daily, painful, powerful choices. The man who becomes high value is the man who embraces pain and turns it into progress. I was once you, confused, lost, full of untapped potential and excuses, but I made a choice and I backed it up with obsession. And if I can do it, you can too. Not because I'm special, but because the truth is every man is born with greatness inside of him. It's just buried under years of weakness, fear, and comfort. And once you start digging, once you start chiseling away everything that's not you, you realize something terrifying and beautiful. You were never meant to be average. The most terrifying thing about life isn't failure, it's regret. That slow, creeping realization that you were capable of becoming something legendary, but you let it slip. You let distractions hijack your destiny. You let comfort win the war. And now you walk around pretending it's all good when deep down, your soul is screaming for more. Every man dies, but not every man truly lives. And most of you aren't living, You're coping. You're dragging your body through the years, doing just enough to survive, but never enough to conquer. You think you have time. You really believe that. You walk around like the clock isn't your enemy. But the truth is, time doesn't forgive weakness. It doesn't pause when you procrastinate. It doesn't slow down when you're lost. It keeps moving, dragging your potential with it, until one day you wake up too old, too tired, too broken to fight back. And the saddest part, you'll remember this exact moment. You'll remember reading this, feeling that fire and still doing nothing. You'll look back and think, that was the moment I could have changed everything. And that thought will haunt you more than any failure ever could. The world isn't against you. You're against you. Every excuse you make is a betrayal. Every time you say, I'll start tomorrow, you are voting against your future. Discipline is the highest form of self-respect. And if you lack discipline, you're telling the world and yourself that your life isn't worth fighting for, that your dreams are negotiable, that your future is optional. And the worst part is, you know it. That's why it eats you. That's why you feel that heaviness when you're alone. That's why the silence is so loud, because deep down, you know you were born for more. There are no neutral days. Every day you waste, your enemies get stronger. Your competition grows while you scroll. The man who wants your spot is in the gym right now. He's grinding, learning, building, while you're rationalizing laziness with fake affirmations. You tell yourself you're healing, you're resting, you're waiting for the right time. No, you're hiding. You're protecting the version of yourself that should have been killed off years ago. Comfort is the enemy of greatness, and the more comfortable you get, the further you drift from the man you were meant to be. What scares me isn't the man who fails. What scares me is the man who settles. The man who had the fire but let the world dim it. The man who got punched once and stayed down. The man who once had ambition but traded it for validation. If you want to become high value, you need to realize that the version of you who's okay with being average needs to die. That weak, indecisive, insecure man can't come with you. He's dead weight. And if you don't bury him, life will bury you. But here's the flip side, the hope. And this is real, not some fairy tale. You can change. Right now, not tomorrow. Not after some fake spiritual awakening, now. Change isn't some mystical transformation. It's a brutal, deliberate decision. You wake up and say, I'm done playing small. And you follow it with action. You build new habits, you kill old patterns, you stay consistent even when no one's clapping. Because you're not doing it for applause. You're doing it because the man inside you is clawing to break free. You don't need $1 million to be valuable. You don't need fame or followers. You need discipline. You need self-respect. You need a mission so powerful that people feel it when you walk into a room. Becoming a high-value man isn't about flexing, it's about impact. It's about walking through this world like a storm with direction. It's about being the man people trust, admire, fear, and love all at once. The man who doesn't fold under pressure, the man who walks into chaos and brings order, the man who commands his own fate. And if you're thinking, I've made too many mistakes, let me tell you this, mistakes don't define you. Quitting, every high-value man you admire was once broken. He was once lost, but he refused to stay there. He used the pain. He turned shame into fuel. He sharpened his scars into weapons. And so can you. But you've got to stop negotiating with your demons. You've got to stop waiting for the world to hand you strength. You got to build it. Brick by bloody brick. Your mind will lie to you. It'll whisper, you're tired. You deserve a break. You're doing enough, and if you listen, you'll rot. But if you fight back, if you scream louder than those lies, you'll rise. The difference between winning and losing is how you speak to yourself when no one's watching. Your self-talk is your greatest weapon or your greatest curse. And most of you are using it to destroy yourselves in silence. You're not put here to be a spectator. You were not born to be average. The fact that you're still breathing means the war isn't over, but you have to choose comfort or greatness. Safety or legacy, distraction or domination. The clock is ticking, the mirror is watching, and the man inside you is begging for resurrection. This is your moment. Don't waste it. Becoming a high-value man isn't a title. It's a vow. It's a declaration to the world that mediocrity has no place in your life. It's the decision to suffer now so you don't suffer forever. It's realizing that life doesn't care how you feel. It only responds to what you do. Every second you sit idle, some other man is sharpening his sword. While you hesitate, he prepares. While you entertain weakness, he becomes a weapon. And when the storm hits, he dominates. Not because he's lucky, but because he's ready. Success doesn't visit the comfortable, it lives with the obsessed. If you're not willing to go beyond the limits, you'll never break the chains. You don't become powerful by doing what's easy. You become powerful by doing what's required. The gym when you're tired, the grind when you're empty, the discipline when nobody's watching. That's where men are built. in the silence, in the struggle, in the sacrifice. That's where the difference is born between those who wish and those who win. Every man wants to be respected, but respect isn't given to the loudest voice.